live together now?
It was supposed to be another morning of wonder, an ocean stage filled with excitement, children laughing, and a trainer who had always believed in the beauty of trust between human and animal. But what began with smiles soon unraveled into one of the darkest tragedies ever witnessed. Jessica Redcliffe, whose heart had always belonged to the sea, found herself face to face with the very creature she had given her life to protect. And in an instant, the bond they shared broke apart, leaving only sorrow in its place. The crowd had come to see joy, but instead they were met with screams. Parents pulled their children close, some too shocked to move, others praying it was only a nightmare. The killer whale, an animal of immense grace and intelligence, revealed a side few were prepared to see. Years of confinement, of living in a world too small for his spirit, had built a storm inside him. And on that morning, it burst free. Trainers rushed to save Jessica, voices trembling with panic, their movements frantic against the unstoppable power of the whale. The water churned violently, each second heavier than the last, until finally there was only silence. Jessica's laughter, once so familiar, was gone. The audience sat frozen. The arena filled not with applause, but with the echo of heartbreak. In the days that followed, a strange stillness fell over the orca. Again and again he circled, releasing cries that sounded almost human. Long, mournful calls that seemed to carry Jessica's name. Witnesses swore it was grief. Could a creature of the sea truly feel loss? Truly mourn the one who had been his closest companion? The thought was both haunting and undeniable. And so the truth emerged. These were not mindless performers. They were emotional, intelligent beings, carrying love, longing, and sorrow deep within them. The tragedy forced a reckoning. Orcas were never meant for confinement, never meant to spend their lives beneath the roar of a crowd. Jessica's fate was the price of our illusion, and it could not be ignored. The decision came heavy but clear. He would return to the wild. The process was quiet, almost sacred. Experts sedated him gently, whispering as though their voices might soothe his restless spirit. Enormous cranes lifted his body carefully, placing him into a massive tank that rumbled along a long, uncertain road. Each mile brought him closer to the waves that had once carried him freely. And then, at the edge of the sea, the moment arrived. The orca stirred as if sensing home. Slowly, carefully, the team released him into the water. For a breathless moment, he floated still, as though listening. And then, with a surge of strength, he swam forward, disappearing into the endless blue. Free again. Free to follow the tides. Free to sing his sorrow into the ocean's depths. Free to live as he was always meant to. Jessica was gone, but her spirit lived on in the lesson she left behind. This was not just a story of tragedy, but a reminder carved in pain that these creatures are not ours to cage, but ours to bend for applause. They belong to the wild, where their cries are not echoes of grief, but songs of life carried endlessly by the sea.